Nice to see
Welcome
you.
to Horror Club. We're back for the new year.
Yes. Yeah, this is the first horror club. It's been a while.
First one, yeah. And we reviewed a 2023 release, so very recently released Spanish horror film called Tin and Tina.
True. Yeah, I'll pull it up here for the people.
Yeah, nice. So first of all, did you watch it with subtitles or did you watch the overdub version?
I always watch with subtitles. I can't
Okay.
stand dubbing. It takes me out of the
Yeah,
movie.
it was pretty bad. I sort of had regret because I did do the dub version and I wish that I had done subtitles most likely.
Ooh, then it must have been very tough for you.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. So, why don't you kick off what you thought overall?
Okay, well, just before we start, then I think you have to add 1 point to your ultimate score because I think the dubbing probably takes one whole point.
Okay, fair. That's okay. I will do that.
Okay, well, it's very well made. It's very well acted. It's
Mhm.
very well cast. It kind of reminded me because it's a very unusual blend. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Wes Anderson, the style,
Yeah,
because
okay.
of
Yeah,
the sort
sure.
of the settings were very sort of pristine and very
Mhm.
well thought out. So those are all kinds of things that I loved about it, and they were also pretty good at setting the tension and the mood and sort of the mystery, what was going on. Um, so those and yeah, so and the children were really really well cast, like much better than I expected. And the
Mhm.
first part of the movie was really good. I thought like, yeah, okay, this is going to be very interesting. And then yeah, maybe I should leave it here. What do you think?
Um, all right. I did not care for this film, even remotely. My on a positive, because I'm going to talk about the positives as well before I launch into the negative. I thought it was beautiful. So I
Yeah,
thought the setting was really gorgeous.
yeah,
And like even the orphanage was so pretty. I have a thing for Catholic art. So that really the lens it was shot through, very like ornate, beautiful, stoic. It gave like that proper Catholicism vibe. Um, what did I think of the plot? Mm, pretty bad. I thought it was tracking somewhere better than it went. That's what I'll
yeah,
say. I thought it was very thin on.
yeah,
It clearly references quite a few horror classics in my mind. So Rosemary's Baby, you know, it kind of hints like, will the baby be demonic? She cuts all her hair off. Obviously, The Shining, classic,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
twins, right?
yeah.
Very, very classic. And what was my third reference? There's another good one
Damien?
in there. Alien?
No, Damien.
Oh, Damien.
The Alien too, in the closet.
Maybe they should have put an alien in there. Maybe that's the
Just
direction.
to mix it up.
Yeah, Damien. Yeah, totally. So it did definitely it had those kind of like nicely reminiscent things. When
Yeah.
a horror movie, when a modern horror sort of pokes you to remember a classic, it's always a nice feeling. I didn't mind the acting. I thought the father was a character that was made for us to hate him.
Oh,
I was excited when he died.
oh. Yeah, no, actually, I thought he was the yeah, more likable character in the
Did
movie.
you?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
no,
that's
I didn't find that
interesting.
way at all, Nick.
But
Um,
probably that, you got the right take on it because I think you're right that we should
I
have hate him. Yeah.
because he was always out and he didn't listen to his wife, and then finally the
True,
twins sent
true. Yeah, but I also thought that the wife was acting kind of strange from the start, and that
He
only got
was.
worse and worse through the movie. And
Yes,
at some point, it was also a little bit because she was the one who actually picked the twins in the first place. Like it
she
was not
did.
the father
Yeah.
actually warned her about it, and she was sort of adamant.
Yeah. I feel like she was set up to be an unhinged character. Like,
Yeah,
she has the leg is missing, they mentioned
yeah,
she grew up in an orphanage, she's
yeah,
obviously can't have this baby she really wants.
yeah.
So it, like, sets her up for the perfect storm of being unhinged. I just wish it had gone in the way of Hereditary when the mum goes unhinged, she goes
Yeah.
demonic.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go to the negative part of the movie, and I think we're probably on the same line.
Yeah,
To
what do you
me,
think?
it's not really a horror movie, right? So
Mm.
I do understand that they had probably trouble typing the movie, or sort of classifying it in some kind of, because it's,
Mm.
I guess it's more drama than horror.
Mm.
So it's and the horror element is very subtle, if
Very.
at all. Like
Mm.
it's mostly the mood and the setting,
Mm.
and but if you expect some kind of grand climax, you will be very disappointed.
Mm. Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I had a thought when I was watching this. There was obviously I like the type of horror movies I like. A lot of them come out of A24, which is
Mhm.
like a famous horror production house. I thought if A24 had done this film, right, my ideal kind of horror film, they would have run with, when the twins put the bag over the mother's head,
Yeah.
and the little girl does it of the brother. I feel like that's the plot that I wanted to follow. Like,
Yeah.
let's go
Yeah.
deep down. That had a
Yeah.
good horror. Like, what do you see when the bag goes over their head? I want to see some crazy shit happen right there and then. And
Yeah.
you're kind of suffocated. So it's like you're about, like,
Yeah.
the character's about to die as well. It has like a higher risk element.
Well, there's definitely scary moments in the movie, especially at the start, like with the dog. They did that was very
Mm,
well, and of course with the suffocation things, and
mm,
the sort of derangement that is happening.
mm.
And if I think if they had put in a grand horror like climax, it would have boosted the whole film tremendously.
Yeah,
If they had,
absolutely.
but my take of the movie is actually that it's probably very recognizable for Spanish people, because
Mm,
it references 1981, and that was
sure.
basically when Spain went from a dictatorship, the Franco dictatorship,
Mm,
to a democracy. And
mhm.
throughout the whole movie, there's references to that event, right? So
Wow.
basically, I
Mm,
think that what the family is going through is sort of a representation of what Spain was going through, with a lot of
mm.
symbolism.
Yeah.
And because the father, which we probably should hate, because his name is Alfonso, and Alfonso was one of the people. You know the sort of scene at the beginning of the movie where they sort of in the news you see like a coup
Oh, yes.
attempt, and one of those people who sort of were masterminding that coup was
Mm.
Alfonso.
Mhm.
Armada, I think his name is. And so the father's name is Alfonso, of course, and the Franco dictatorship was a very sort of authoritarian, very patriarchic
Mhm.
kind of style of
Mm.
dictatorship, very brutal also. And and the father has, of course, this very job that is very sort of connected to the government. I think he's a pilot or something.
Pilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but what kind of pilot is unclear.
I
But
feel like the father was mucking around. I'm just gonna take this off
yeah,
on a subplot because he keeps coming home late. She has no, like, control or oversight of his behavior. And then when she says he comes home and he smells like alcohol, but he's just been at work.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you're right, and of course, once the mother goes deranged, then it probably gets worse. The
Mm.
whole relationship becomes worse.
Yeah.
But there's also the connection between the church and the Franco regime, right? So
Mm.
according to sort of the stuff that came out after the dictatorship, is that the church was actually very close to the dictatorship of Franco.
Mhm.
And you also have this sort of a remark from the what's the nun, the head nun or whatever that
Yeah.
person is called.
Yeah.
It says like that people with democracy have sort of lost their ways, and that they're sort of lost their morals and stuff. Um, and I think so, and there's also through the movie there's this scene when the mother is in bed and they are talking about, shall we baptize the new
Yes.
kid?
The child. Yeah.
Yeah, the child. And then the father is still on the side of Tin and Tina. And then, oh, we live in a democracy now. Let's vote for it. And then, the father puts up his hand, and the church the children put up their hands, and then the child is sort of baptized against the will of the mother. And at the end of the movie, and I think that's sort of the plot, is that the church is sort of becomes part of the new democracy, but through a sneaky way. And the father, dies because he burned the Bible, and then they burn him.
Yeah. So the burning of the Bible is obviously a really poignant part of this movie. It's when things really elevate and shit is about to go down.
Yeah.
Especially the forced baptism of the baby by the children in the pool.
That was kind of scary. Yeah. I think if you're like a mom or something and you see this movie, there are some pretty tough. Then it might actually be horror if you're like a mother. If you're a pregnant mother, then don't watch this movie.
Especially if you're a pregnant mother with twins.
Oh yeah. And I did like the twins. I mean, the first time that I saw the twins, and especially the boy with the smile.
Oh my God, the teeth. Were the teeth flippers, or do you think that was that child's teeth in real life?
Oh, that's difficult. I don't want to comment on that, because if it's like his real teeth.
They were hectic. The kids played, the psychotic without doing a whole lot. They played the psychos pretty well.
Yeah, and I think also a nice thing about the movie was that because you're kind of waiting for the moment that they show their evil intent, but it's not really there, right? They're really in a way they're really innocent. They just really believe in the Bible and just doing
verbatim. Yeah.
So that's kind of funny, because there's not really an evil intent in it.
No, and that's different from most movies in this sort of genre, when they take the children back to the orphanage, and the religious zealots always say the child is evil, but this time they said no, the child is not evil, it's just a mistake.
but you could say, like, what is evil about it is not the children. In a way, they were sort of victim too, like the mother. But sort of the system is evil, so that makes a child believe that much in the Bible and do that kind of cruelty to the dog and to the mother and
the baby.
Because the children are completely deranged, in a very bad way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder how in like predominantly Catholic countries this film will be taken as well.
Yeah, well, I think the Catholic Church power has been waning for a long time now, and I really wonder if in the Catholic countries like in Southern Europe, like Spain and Italy and Portugal, those kind of countries, I'm not sure if these kind of movies still have an impact. Actually, maybe they do in certain areas, but I think the power of the church has been really waning a lot over the years. And of course, you got the new Pope, who also sort of is okay with that, and
much more liberal.
So,
absolutely. Okay, I thought the Catholicism was pretty well done. Like, I thought that theme in the film was nicely done. Like, it was still kind of respectful. It wasn't like blood and guts Catholicism. It was still pretty nice. It was just that the children were obviously zealots, so everything.
Yeah, and I think there's also another hint in the name of the last name, the family name of the of the woman. I'm trying to find it, but I looked it up, and it means sorrow or sadness.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. So the last name. I forgot. I can't find it here. But if you sort of translate the last name of the family, it means sort of sorrow or sadness, which is kind of sort of like a standard Spanish name for some reason. But
really?
So
she definitely played like a dark kind of character from the very beginning, like the first scene kind of onwards. She seemed a very kind of sad, this like darkness hanging over, and the leg was obviously kind of symbolic as well.
Yeah, that she had trouble moving, and I guess because she couldn't. So when she came out of the church, she had this moment, like I guess a complication or stillbirth. I'm not sure what it was, maybe you know, but that sort of coincided with the coup attempt, right? That at the same time that was happening, and then basically the whole movie plays out in that year. It's from the beginning of the year till the end of the year.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
And then at the end of the year, it's sort of the whole sort of coup, the danger of a possible coup is sort of resolved at the end of the year, and then they move on to a real democracy. And I think that's so, and there's also the miracle element, right? Remember the miracle that she can give birth.
Yeah, she conceived. Yeah.
So there's sort of like these, and they say that it was because of the suffocation, and there's also another hint that the father is sort of supposed to represent Franco, because when they pull off her, when they try to suffocate her and they pull off the what is it, the pillowcase or something, she sees a shadow on the doorway, right?
Yes.
And then a moment later she looks away, and then he is standing there. And then you can sort of explain it two ways. Either she saw the shadow was sort of the devil or God or whatever, or it was actually the father representing the Franco regime, like the shadow of the Franco regime in the father.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So
it was his reaction was very odd as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that was true. There are some strange reactions in the movie.
Yes. I didn't know if it was like the acting or if it was planned like symbolism, to be honest, because mine was overdubbed.
Yeah, because you think both the mother and the father would have been totally freaked out. First, by
absolutely.
The dog would have been like, not a red flag. It would be, throw the kids out right now, kind of moment. But they sort of took the side of the kids and say, okay, it's just, and maybe the dog's name also means something. I didn't look it up, but and then later on, this moment, with the suffocation, the father reacted quite mildly for them trying to suffocate his wife, and the wife also reacted quite, nicely to that moment. But also later on in the movie, when sort of the house is on fire, and you've got a baby upstairs, the baby that she always wanted to have, and she's just walking around the house and
sort of dazed and
looking
confused
around, and
right. Because I thought
like, there's a baby upstairs, right?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, oh, the baby's already dead. She must know the baby's dead, so she's not gonna like, this is kind of done, and so she's just going to be sad now. But you're right, and then she kind of like strolled up the stairs and picked up the baby in the bassinet.
Yeah, and then she tries to suffocate herself again in order to find it.
Yeah,
apparently. Yeah, so those kind of things are really strange in the movie, and I'm not. Yeah, they must have a purpose, but they're so strange that it must mean something that we don't understand.
Yeah, but if it loses context, we shouldn't need to be deep diving into synopsises to find out like the meaning of something. It should be readily available to any viewer, right?
Yeah, true. So that was sort of my major disappointment with the movie, because I think this is only very interesting for people from Spain who know this sort of, who have this sort of cultural baggage or references, context.
Yeah.
And for other people, it's sort of a strange, not really horror movie. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I feel like if you just stumbled upon this like for some daytime TV viewing with no expectation, you would probably take it better than how we reviewed it. But because you were anticipating a horror film as it was themed by Netflix, it kind of falls short.
Yeah. There's a lot of and it is like you say. There's a lot of symbolism in the movie, and you really have to do a deep dive in order to fully appreciate it. I mean, there's also, for example, each time a murder happens or something happens, there's sort of something just in front of it, like when they go to class and the teacher talks about the heart. And then they sort of bless the heart, take the heart out of the dog and bless it and put it back in the dog. And there's this, the Bible gets burned, so the father gets burned. And the bully, is bullying the kids. So slings and arrows. So he dies with slings and arrows. So there's a lot of that going on in the movie. And there's also this moment, and I wanted to have your take, is, when they sort of drive back to the house, and at the beginning of the movie, the kids are talking about, how far is it from here to the convent, and and if you go through the woods and blah blah blah, and then he hits the brakes and something crosses the road, and you think it's the kids, but it kind of looks like an animal. What's your take on that scene?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's hinting, right? Like that the devil takes on many forms. That's always the kind of like the religious slant I would take when I see films like this. It doesn't really spell it out. It just sort of like nudges at the fact. Obviously, I was aware of that too. It was a strange question to ask, how far is the nunnery from here? I feel like that was a little bit clunky, to be honest. Like, you don't need to spell that out. There are nuances that you can give, like little hints in the plot. It doesn't have to be like, well, dear, it's 2 kilometers from here. It's walking.
Yeah. It's only 7 if you go through the woods. If you take it out over there and
you take a left. What did you think about the symbolism? What did you think the animal meant?
Yeah, well, my take was that it looked more like an animal, but a strange animal. It was not like a recognizable animal, but it didn't really look like the kids. And the moment before all this happened, they were in bed, and the nun was sort of reading from Apocalypse, from Revelations from Joel, and there was sort of righteous retribution, and I think they also speak of the devil, and sort of the different shapes the devil takes at the in the Revelation. So maybe there was sort of that going on there. I'm not sure. It was just a strange. So the movie is full of these really strange moments that you.
Yeah, I agree. What would you rate it out of 10?
Well, I find it hard because I think I have to go for a 6.
Wow. Okay. Well, I might surprise you with my answer, because I'm giving an additional point for the fact I watched the overdub version, so we can, because I do, the voices were pretty bad. I give it a 4 out of 10 with the additional point included.
Okay. I expected. The reason that I give it a 6 is because of it's very well made. It's very gorgeous, like you say. I think it's very well acted. I think with the right sort of cultural baggage and context, you can create it much more
out of it. Yeah.
And I think we're also put on the wrong leg, like you said, with Netflix putting it out like a horror, which I think it's not really a horror. It has some horror elements in it, but it's So I understand the 4.
Okay, well, I mean, we'll just keep watching. We're gonna watch a few more modern, recently released horrors, and then we might deep dive to some really classics as well, like some Freddy.
Yeah, one of the benefits of the classics is that you can't go wrong.
I know. It's always a problem, and it sets a precedent up for the modern stuff. We have expectations. But awesome. Thank you. We kicked off Horror Club for the new year.
Yeah, and for everybody watching, if you have a cool suggestion for us to watch, like a new recent horror movie, just send it in, and we'll take a look at it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nick. Bye.